You know, I was just kind of thinking, like, maybe today we could play a good deck. Wouldn't that be wild? Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And today we are going to be playing with a brew, but it's a brew that just mostly is a pile of good cards rather than something wacky. So, Momo321 recently did relatively well in a tournament. My website is down right now, which has my notes on it. And I'm just recording anyway. So I don't remember if it was like 5-0ing a league, top 8ing a challenge. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they had a pretty good run with a brew. And now we're going to take a look at that today. I'm going to play it as is, and they've asked at the end that I just kind of give my advice and evaluate it based on my initial experiences with the deck list. So it's no secret that Up the Beanstalk is currently one of the best, if not the best, card advantage engine that exists in Legacy. There are other things that can, maybe contest that throne. The One Ring, for example, is very good in the various combo deck lists that it fuels. But Up the Beanstalk, making your Force of Wills and your Murktide Regent's cantrip is pretty gross in this format. So we've seen tempo decks and control deck lists kind of slot in this Up the Beanstalk, Force of Will, Murktide, Regent, Shell, oftentimes supporting it with some other cheap or free interaction as well. Now, this specific deck list goes a little bit deeper on the creature front with both Hooting Mandrils and Fury, with the general idea being that you can go a little bit deeper on the delve cards if you do some other things to help fuel that graveyard. So we have the traditional like cantrip plus lightning bolt suite here, and we do have a bit more advantage, card advantage that is, in the form of questing druid as well, and this also plays well with you wanting to vomit a bunch of cantrips into your graveyard. We are on 3 wastelands rather than 4 wastelands, since we are a little more pip intensive than usual. With, in theory, this being a hard castable red card, although in practice it's usually going to be a pitch card for us. And Fire Ice serves as a nice card that can pitch to both Fury and Force of Will, or the Force of Negation out of the sideboard. Generally speaking, I don't think the sideboard is too surprising. Torpor Orb exists for decks like Initiative, as well as Sticker Goblin deck lists, and some overlap with Thassa's Oracle combo deck lists, such as Cephalid Breakfast as well. And most of the other stuff is pretty straightforward here. I'd like to give a special nod to Carpet of Flowers here, which is always going to be good in any sort of blue mirror or pseudo mirror, but is particularly good here as it can decrease your reliance on the graveyard for some of these delve spells. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the league here. Remember, if you need any cards, consider checking out Cool Stuff Inc. and using promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your next order. And if you're looking to support me, consider becoming a YouTube member, and you will get early access to all of my videos as soon as they're uploaded, rather than having to wait a while. Let's battle. Hey, Phil from the future here. I recommend round 4 from this video if you are operating on a limited amount of time and only get to watch one round. It has a really interesting spot in it. Oh, hey, look, a cat too. I don't really like my hand. It has 2 brainstorms and is probably fine. But some portion of the time I do get brainstorm locked, and this hand doesn't end up being that great. It's relatively good versus a creature deck with double lightning bolt here, and somewhat soft against a control or combo deck. It's better now that I drew the Force of Will. My Lorien Revealed deck, I am not. Against Mystic Sanctuary, I don't think I'm going to play around turn 2 Orcish Bowmasters. I think I am probably just going to wait until my own turn to brainstorm. Okay, it is bug. So I really don't want my opponent to be the first one with one of these. I think I'm going to force and pitch the Murktide Regent since I have a different Delve card already. And then I will be using both Brainstorms now before my opponent untaps because I now know that I do actively care about Orcish Bowmasters. So I want to use both Brainstorms in a turn cycle. Fuck this. Oh no. Okay. Well, that's not great. I get to draw through one of those two cards immediately and then re-Brainstorm. Fuck. Yeah, this is why I considered mulliganing this one. Everyone always criticizes me for over-mulliganing with blue decks, just assuming that the cantrips will get there. Should have gone with my gut and shipped it. Rough. So this game is effectively over. I know my next two draws are blanks. I think for entertainment value, I'm just going to concede this one. I'm not, like, technically dead, but I think it's dead air for 5 minutes, and I'd like to avoid that. So I'm going to expect this game to go long. I think my dazes get a little bit worse in that case. I probably want some number of Carpet of Flowers as well as Pyroblast in respect of Murktide Regent. I think that gives me something that looks like this. I could board in a Brazen Borrower. I don't know that I am overly excited about doing so. This is unexciting, but fine. I have some minor considerations for whether or not I'm leading on Volk or Flooded Strand. I think I'm going to lead on Volk and hope to save the Flooded Strand for after a cantrip. But this does mean I could get Wastelanded on turn 1. Spellbomb's fine. Like, that's not exactly the route that I'm planning on going here. This is dazable right now. I think I'm shoving anyway. Very good. Life from the Loam's a little weird. Not sure how I feel about that right now. Oh, well, that's resolving. I don't have a counterspell for it. And that's just there. This is a massive tempo advantage for my opponent. Uh-huh. Well, my cats are losing their mind with something in the living room. I don't know what. And I don't think I have time to go check on it. Yes. Bam, bam, bam. Shuffle library, no. I think I'm still gonna do this, despite the awkwardness, and pass the turn. Oh, the carpet's so good. My opponent's wasteland is better than my wasteland. Yeah. I'll float a red. My gut tells me to Pyroblast this. Can't explain why, just gut reason says do this. Alright, so my opponent can crack their Spellbomb to keep me from doing something like Murktide immediately. I will just end up doing Life from the Loam Wasteland nonsense, and then, like, I dredge once, and then we're in Murktide Regent territory. I think I'm just going to resolve my second Up the Beanstalk this turn, though. Like, I will have conceptually 3 things in my hand that now are double cantrips. I think that's long-term setting myself up for success. And I have Lightning Bolt for something like a Bowmasters that comes down. So I have to Force of Will that, because otherwise I lose one of these and potentially my Tropical Island, which keeps me from doing Life from the Loam. This could be dazed. It is an Orcish Bowmasters, that's fine. Like, I've got a Fury in hand, I've got a Lightning Bolt in hand, I've got a second Lightning Bolt in hand. Okay, my own carpet. Perfectly reasonable. Cool. So, I think I am interested in just making sure Bowboy is dead. Then I can do some other things. Like, let's attempt carpet. Move to second main phase here. Make 2 green mana. I guess fetch. Get more red. Loam back 2 lands. And I think I don't eliminate the Orc Army token now. Maybe I don't fetch the second time because it gives my opponent 1 more mana. It seems like mana is not the bottleneck, though, despite my opponent being on 2 lands. Like, I think raw number of cards is my opponent's bottleneck, and I am likely to out-cantrip them. Wasteland's fine. I just want to play Fury on my turn, so I think I'm going to take the 3. No dredge. Let's go yes. I'll make some red. Opponent does not currently have black mana. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 1. I'm just going to make the land drop and cast the Fury. I just get 2 draws here. I don't think I have to brainstorm first. I think I'd rather play around days. I could brainstorm and see if I hit Force of Will plus blue card. I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to Lightning Bolt this now while I know that it is dead. Oh, fuck, I'm not. I have a Vulcan Exile. Okay, then I guess I am brainstorming right now. I forgot my opponent spellbombed me. Not interested in dredging. No. 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 I'll put back 2 cards. I'm going to immediately redraw them, so I don't need to think about it too much. So this is where we end up when the stack clears. And all my mouse shortcuts have stopped working. What are we doing? Okay, now they're back. My opponent has access to a decent amount of mana, but they're just going to punch me in the face. So they have access to sorcery speed black. They didn't use it. We're potentially just looking at counterspells on the other side of the table. I guess I'm adding green. I'll play a new Up the Beanstalk. Not interested in dredging. Okay. Let's play a new carpet. We'll move to second main phase. Add the green. Play the beans. And now I just need any one large spell, and I get a draw 4 off of it, and it's pretty disgusting. Instead, I just find a giant pile of land. It's not great. I think I will go ahead and wasteland my opponent's Trop, despite the fact that that takes me off some mana. I'll pass the turn, and in their upkeep, I will try to kill this orc, as it represents a relatively fast clock at this point. Opponent found a new Bowmasters. Yep. Alright, I just need my deck to not crap itself. Just any one, like, Murktide, Fury sort of card, and we're great. This is not the best. I will go ahead and just bolt the Bowmasters now. I don't think I'm going to play another land in respect of my opponent's carpet. Like, I still have 6 mana showing. I can have a 7th if I play a land. I guess I can play the Flooded Strand, and it's probably fine. I'm at 5. No dredge. This is fine. Let's say yes to one of these and make a blue, and I'll say no to the other one. I'll cast the Brainstorm. Not interested. Yikes. Force of Will's almost good. Let's put back 2 cards here. I'll make a land drop and pass. Assuming I find something worth fighting over with a I mean, I would Force of Will literally any spell that went on the stack right now because it's just a draw 4. So, like, that's a thing. I don't have too many fetchables left, right? Yeah. Do we have any green only fetch lands? No, they are all base blue. Alright, live draw, please. Just like a Murktide Regent. I guess I'll play another one. Play carpet. I'm gonna play this so my Force of Will is live around days. This is frustrating though. I'm through over half my deck and I've seen 1 Fury and 1 Murktide Regent as threats. Alright, I'm down to 2. Alright, deck, here we go. Any live card, please. Alright. I'm gonna say yes. Start with the red. Say yes. Make the green. Say yes. Make red. Start by seeking the beast. I think I'll leave the red floating. Okay. 4 card types in graveyard. That is fantastic. And can I cast this as the Seek the Beast side too? I imagine I can. So let's DRC. This awkward. Oh no, I can't. Can I only adventure from my hand? Oh no, this is the adventure side. The other revealed card was Force Will. JK. Okay. In which case, I should have done these in the other order. The difference is somewhat unlikely to matter, but could matter. Awkwardly, I could be wastelanded off of my Pyroblast. That happens. That unfortunately also happens. I had to drop my Force of Will to play my creatures. So, despite the fact that I have 4 beans in play, like, I just bottomed out and only hit mana and carpets. And I think I'm supposed to put the secondary creature in play. Regardless, GG's.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. It's just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and it's also a great tool if you're a competitive tournament player. What I'm showcasing here is its compare feature. You can take 2 deck lists, plug in links to both of them, and then see which cards are unique to deck list A, which cards are unique to deck list B, and which cards are shared with both of them. And you can do this both with the main deck and the sideboard. If you are looking to fine-tune a deck list, this is a great way to do that.
Alright, I've kept my opening hand. I think my opponent is double queuing. They're low as hell. Okay. We're probably playing against some sort of sticker goblin deck. Well, I'm going to force the Blood Moon. I think I'm going to keep both Ponders. Get rid of Fire Ice. So this is not the traditional goblins build. I think I'm going to get my 1 basic and ponder on turn 1. Fury is reasonable if I get mooned again. I think these are fine. I think I'm going to go bam, bam, bam. No shuffle and pass. That's resolving. I got rid of my Fire Ice, so I can't kill this token immediately. I don't want to Fury the token, just clarifying. Like, I am aware that I could kill it, but I think this is ultimately going to be better. That is a card that I would love to draw, but it's my 4th thing in graveyard, my 4th different type. So I am going to send it that direction. These are great. I'm going to bury this and take both of the other 2. The order doesn't matter because I can't play Wasteland this turn. And I'm not going to just junk this immediately. It's my hope that my opponent attacks, I take out this in combat, I Fury pitch DRC, killing whatever they play this turn, and then I Wasteland the city. And I'm in a very strong position. I can end up waiting another turn to play the Fury if I'd like. Carnosphere is a little annoying, but not the end of the world. I probably now end up just locking my opponent under their own card. Like, I will go Wasteland, Wasteland your city. This is forced to attack. I am fine with that. And then next turn, I pitch cast Fury, kill this, and the backside of this. And my position is pretty strong at that point. Things can get a little weird if my opponent has a soul land and then plays an initiative creature or something as well. That's fine. That's perfectly beatable. It's good, don't get me wrong. So I'll go to 13. Get the Trop. Does cost me 3 mana, which means I don't get to play a secondary threat. This one always dies. Mana's no longer the bottleneck. So I take out the Rabble Master as the secondary thing. And send in for 3. We're trading attacks for 3 back and forth. If I make it past this turn, then I probably end up stabilizing the game with Hooting Mandrils. But something scary could happen here. Yeah, no, that's definitely scary. I get attacked for 5, and then my opponent will throw something that kills DRC. I'm at 8. I guess they could huck things at my face and try to finish the game that way. I think either way is pretty strong for them. Yeah, they are just going face. So if I hold 2 creatures back, I can block 2 damage, take 3 to the face, get Trinisphere thrown at me, and I'm dead. Unfortunately, we come up a little bit short here. I don't have Hydroblasts in my board. I don't really have additional removal either. Sort of unfortunate. I can Force of Negation to help out with Blood Moon. And to a lesser extent, Trinisphere type cards. I guess I'll do that. Life from the Loam I think is good against the Goblins builds, but if my opponent is rocking Blood Moons and presumably Magus of the Moon as well out of the sideboard, this becomes a lot less good. Then I'm a little less sure what to do. I'm going to trim some threats. I think answering my opponent's stuff in the early game matters a lot. This is kind of whatever. I'll keep it. I think some portion of the time I still just get run over. I was looking at some data earlier today, and the Turbo Muxus style decks are both the most highly represented and best performing decks in Legacy Challenge, like Legacy events right now. So that's a thing. I've got a Bolt for some creatures. I've got a Force of Negation to stop something like a Trinisphere or Chalice that I think will be problematic. I'm just going to Force of Negation that and hope to draw a cantrip or anything reasonable to do with my turn. Otherwise, that requires both of my lightning bolts and also gives my opponent some looting. Draws have not felt smooth. And I don't know that there's anything wrong with the deck building or anything. Alright. Well, that one resolves. Let's get my red source and take this out. My Force of Wills aren't live as a Beanstalk cantrip right now. I need to do some resculpting, so Brainstorm is the perfect draw. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, this is conceptually good, but I don't have the blue card here. I guess I'm putting it back. Yeah. I'll go ahead and fetch so that I can play DRC with Lightning Bolt up. So now my opponent gets some selection. And I will hopefully get some selection by like Lightning Bolting a creature and then fixing my next draw. Something like a Murktide Regent would be dandy. That's awkward. I don't think I am supposed to point a Lightning Bolt at face to get a Scry 1 there. Like, the DRC going to my graveyard is the next thing. And I just, like, don't answer artifacts with this deck unless I board in that. Which I don't necessarily think I'm supposed to do. Alright. I'll send that at face. Like, I, in theory, don't care about the artifacts all that much if I just get established. Like, all it takes is one Murktide Regent, and then I just don't care about this, right? But instead, I think I might just, like, whiff on my draw, then Rabblemaster copies Rabblemaster, and I die. Say, Levi, you're late to the party. My opponent doesn't even need to cast something that turns on Force of Will as a cantrip. Okay, I do get to cantrip. So I'll draw my card. Okay, there's a Murktide Regent. This is what I was talking about. We'll see if my opponent has the land drop to copy Rabblemaster and really push damage this turn. They do. That's unfortunate. I'm not going to math this out because I'm either dead or I'm not. But this is a lot over the course of 2 turns. So those are 6s each. Yeah, I'm dead now. GG's. So I'm really unsure about this deck. Like, is this a keep? Do I just keep turn to end of turn questing Druid while holding up Lightning Bolt and hope that that gets somewhere meaningful? I kind of felt like this deck is clunky, despite being a pile of good cards. Maybe I'm just not getting things to line up well. Maybe I need to be mulliganing more aggressively than I am. I don't think I can Wasteland given that this is my only valid play. I'm going to choose not to Wasteland. By choosing not to wasteland, my opponent could play Dark Depths into Vampire Hexmage, and I just die. Yup. Called it. Just confirm I have no Brazen Borrower, right? I guess I could draw Fire Ice. That deals with things for one turn. I'm just gonna concede. Alright. Sideboard feels kind of bad again. Like, the Brazen Borrower is nice. The Furies are probably not particularly good. I'm gonna get rid of those. I guess I'm going to bring in for Meltdown and maybe a pivot plan of Urza's Saga. I can play Force of Negation. I don't know that it's good. My opponent a lot of times is going to try to cast meaningful spells on my end step. Maybe get another Hooting Mandrils in. Do one of those out. Surgical feels medium. I might need it. I'm going to try not to play it for the game where I'm on the play. I'm going to play it the game where I'm on the draw. Like, I feel like this is a handful of lands and spells, but I just kind of feel like my deck doesn't do anything a lot of the time. Like, I'm going to play an Up the Beanstalk on turn 2 and then hope to daze something, and where am I going from there? Like, I can daze to protect this Up the Beanstalk, but then I'm back a land drop and I can't wasteland my opponent, which kind of seems like a big deal. So I think I'm just letting this happen. But, like, this is letting my card advantage engine go. I don't know. So I'm put in, like, the same relative spot as last time, where I can put myself in a position where I just essentially die by not wastelanding. At least I have a daze this time. Alright, we're just chilling. I'm gonna go and get my red. And attempt to seek the beast and do something meaningful with it. I mean, Up the Beanstalk and Wasteland are some hits. I will take those. Draw my card. There's my Wasteland. I'll pass the turn. I think I am just holding up the Wasteland rather than planning on using it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but I think I'm just holding up Wasteland to greatly decrease the chance that I get comboed off. And if I can get my, if I get a chance to bring my opponent to 0 mana by double wastelanding, I'll do that. Otherwise, I think I'm just kind of chilling for a little while. I don't have double green, do Beanstalk and Hooting Mandrils at the same time. So I think I am just going to play the beans, hold up double wasteland, and start doing some gross things next turn. Sure. Note that my Up the Beanstalks have cantripped both times, so my opponent has, like, gone card negative, getting rid of these Beanstalks. Like, I am at the same number of cards, and my opponent is down 2 cards relative to where we were previously. Sure, that's fine. I think I'm interested in doing this now and re-sculpting a bit. I think Needle isn't involved right now, so this card can go away. And I probably will get rid of the Murktide Regent right now. Just have more mana efficient threats currently. I'm gonna fetch, pick up another red. I think I don't Lightning Bolt. I think I am just going to double threat while holding up Force of Will and double Wasteland. I just don't want to Lightning Bolt this and immediately have my crop rotation, like my opponent crop rotation it for value. I think I would like to make things more awkward for my opponent than just that. Sure. Okay. So this is now going to attempt to, like, fight my DRC, it looks like. And that is for X is 2 for an invasion of Ikoria. Sure. Do I care about this? It's probably just picking up Vampire Hexmage, which I just, like, Lightning Bolt and move on with my life. Or no, I guess then they use that to strip the counters on this and turn it into the backside. Okay. I think I care enough about that. Like, I can sit on some Wastelands for a little while, but it seems like a good enough target. Could get, like, Veil of Summered here. Redrew a Meltdown. I think I will get this going. Yeah. I think I'm going to ponder over Lightning Bolt this. Because so that quick reflexes doesn't kill this. Ponder's okay. Beanstalk's okay. I suppose this is fine. No shuffle. Bash in for 4. Opponent's at 16. I'm looking to kill them in about 2 turns. We'll probably hit for 7 or 8 next turn. Then a bit more after that. Ponder first, Beanstalk first. I think I will ponder first. These are fine cards. What do I actually want? Like, what am I conceptually digging for? Like, Fire Ice is cool for if something goes wrong. I don't have a blue card in my hand for Force of Will. I think I'm just going to accept these cards. Go no shuffle. I think I'll just hold up all of my mana, attack for 7, and then do a bunch of things a bit later on. If my opponent does some sort of chump block thing. Not this time. I'll just pass turn, holding up Seek the Beast for end step. I don't really feel like I'm doing anything impressive, but I'm winning. Opponent's fetching? Fetching seems weird to me, because, like, everything is Bayou. End of turn, I will Seek the Beast. I'm just going to continue to hold up both Wastelands, which limits my flexibility just a tiny bit. Brainstorm and Flooded Strand. Got it. This can go to face. Yeah. So, play land drop. Cast a Brainstorm. Daze is irrelevant. Meltdown is irrelevant. I'm just going to attack with my creatures. Either one of these getting through means that I can just Lightning Bolt my opponent's face for lethal at any point. Thespian Stage targets Dryad Arbor. Sure, that's fine. They go to 4. I'll pass turn. I'll put lethal damage on the stack at some point. I don't think I need to be in a rush here. So, over the course of that game, neither a Thespian Stage nor a Dark Depths was in graveyard, and I didn't look at the turn counter, but it feels like that was somewhere around turn 10 or something like that. So, like, I might play Surgical, and it just doesn't go anywhere meaningful. So I guess I'm just going to whack the Submit Deck button. Yeah, I am just not a fan of my opening hands here. Being on the 1 basic and being off both colors, I don't think I can meaningfully keep this one. Sure. Fully at the mercy of my deck here. Maybe the Hooting Mandrils goes back. Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty jazzed about recording with this deck list. Like, it looked very strong to me. But in practice, it's feeling so much more clunky than something like a Bug Beans deck or a traditional 2 to 3 color Delver deck. Alright, Druid down. Ponder's a great draw. I'm basically looking for second land. That is not second land. The worst part is, like, my opponent knows that I have a Daze. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm fully at the mercy of my deck here. Life has a sense of humor, huh? So now my opponent gets to start grinding out their combo pieces when I have basically no ability to interact with this creature. And very quickly, it will be outside of range of Lightning Bolt as well. Am I going to get bogged here? Just keep my graveyard in check, or is this a combo piece? Could also just be a fetch land. Yeah, so they're going for the fetch land so that I only have a singular draw to draw Lightning Bolt. Otherwise, this is around forever. Got lucky. Fuck yeah. Get out, Elvish Reclaimer. Now, unfortunately, I can't just, like, play Up the Beanstalk and put my source of card advantage into play next turn. Sure. Got Daze for something like an Endurance. That's a cruel joke. No play from my opponent. Green mana would be so exceptional right now. Like, it lets me hit my land drops, dig towards Wasteland, and increase my graveyard count all at the same time. That's in play. Might have to attempt to Brazen Borrower that out of play for tempo-based reasons to give myself more time. I hate it. And like a Legolas's Quick Reflexes or Veil of Summer type card could mess with this. Not this time. That doesn't really do anything. I think I'm going to redraw and try to hit a land drop. Do I need to do that now? Can I do it during my opponent's turn? I wouldn't wasteland now. I would love to have a wasteland in play now, though. Alright. Miss. So life is going to get bad real quick here. I could double daze that. That's both a 2-for-1 and bounces 2 of my lands back to play. I don't know that I just beat 2 3/4s that attack me every turn for the rest of the game, though. Like, combo aside. So, here we are. Opponent pays. Daze again. Feels bad. Feels real bad. Well, could have played around it, opponent. Did not. Don't have green mana still. Slowly lose my mind. I will get Bojuka bogged. In all likelihood, meaning that even if I rip the land, my Life from the Loam and Hooting Mandrils become worse. So that's kind of where I'm at. How's your day going? Green Sun, maybe? No, it is an invasion of Ikoria. My opponent's going to do this, get Vampire Hexmage, put an 8/8 into play. And because I thought I would lose 2/2, 3/3 beaters, my opponent now gets to just do this. And I've used my 1 Brazen Borrower. There's not a second one, right? Yeah. So that's just there forever. Cool. Oh, the natural Bojuka Bog for the Rubbins. And that is still not green mana. At this point, I am confident that I've lost. I will concede the game. Yeah, I don't like this deck. Like, my opening hand is such that if I get wastelanded, I'm in a terrible state. If my wastelands aren't good, I'm in a terrible state. Yeah. Awkward. Like, I'm gonna have colored mana issues this game in all likelihood as well. I have to just take this card out. I have to respect the fuck out of Elvish Reclaimer. I don't know for sure yet whether I'm playing against a depths-based strategy or something like a Reclaimer Elves deck. Alright. The Blind Pithing Needle on Wasteland that shuts off 2 cards in my hand. God damn it. You're a card late. So my Wastelands now don't allow me to DRC into Ponder and start scaling this up. I think my hand is bad enough that I attempt the Brainstorm here. Cool. No fetch land, no any colored land to then ponder and shuffle. I have to redraw. I still don't get to do... I think I give my opponent that. I still don't get to do this into a cantrip the following turn cycle either. Thanks, I hate it. I'll take the days on that while I can get that. Not like I'm double spelling next turn anyway. Alright. I guess I'm going to put this in play in hopes of attacking for 3 the following turn. Yeah, I lack blue. I lack blue plus any color at the same time. The Wastelands aren't going to interact with the Thespian Stage combo. I'm in terrible shape. I think I am going to ponder this time, despite the fact that I would love to shuffle away a Wasteland. Don't have mana for that. That also will help grow my stuff. So what do I have in here? Instant creature land. This will be sorcery, so this will be a 3/3. I'm going to take this other colored land. They know. Play this. I think I'm gonna brainstorm and put this Wasteland 2 down. I could have done this better. I'll put the Wasteland 2 down. I'll put a Murktide Regent on top. I have double Force of Will available. Opponent's still at 17, and I can just get punked by my opponent naturally playing Dark Depths. That I have covered, though. I've got a Murktide Regent on top. I'll happily pitch a Murktide Regent. I think I will draw this. So now I'll ship in for 3 and then do a excuse me, a post-combat Murktide Regent. 14. Blue, blue. Leave land and creature. Attack my instants heavily. Leave sorcery, creature, instant, land. I'll pay this extra 1. Leaves me in okay shape. I need my opponent not to naturally draw Dark Depths. All I need is this next attack step. And then I'm fine. Because this is an attack for 10, and then even if my opponent produces the 20/20, they can block 1, I lightning bolt their face, and the game is over. I conceptually feel like I should have lost this game. But scoreboard, I didn't. And there's the concession. So most of my cards don't really do stuff. I want the Brazen Borrower. I probably play the Meltdowns in respect of Pithing Needle, and then like these cards are mid. Dazes feel awkward on the draw. I think I'm going to get rid of those. That gives me 1, 2, 3, and I can figure out where I fall on some of this other stuff. Again, Force of Negation is awkward because a lot of times my opponent will do something critical like a crop rotation on my own turn. Let's do 1 surgical. Yeah, like this is it again, right? So this opening hand cannot produce all 3 of my colors unless I cantrip to get that other color. I don't know that I am supposed... Oh no. I had the wrong read on this. F. It was Cloud Post instead, and I just didn't see any of that. Okay. So my evaluation of cards has changed a lot now. What am I doing? I'm just like playing a turn 2 questing druid and hoping to beat my opponent down so I get Trop and leave myself off the red mana. That feels gross. Alright. I think this is a thanks I hate it moment. I'm hoping my opponent plays something like an Elvish Reclaimer this turn that I can just like Fury while growing questing druid and try to put a real clock into play. I think that's better than firing tempo-wise. This is definitely a bit weird though. But I think I just need to get this established clock in play and start fueling my graveyard for Hooting Mandrils. Unless I randomly spike one of my Meltdowns. God damn it. Ah! Yeah, so like my Wasteland can't get rid of this either. Alright, they find a Cloud Post. We are on a path to destruction. 1, 2, 3. Brainstorm is 4. Let's do this using the red mana here. Scale this up. Beans? I guess beans. I can just produce the second body of Hooting Mandrils this turn. I think given that the top of my library is so bad, this is more important. And then I can Hooting Mandrils or Murktide Regent next turn. I'm in bad shape, though. I would really like to find a Meltdown. Like, I have 2 Wastelands, and they're very, very, very important to my success in this game. Like, if I take out Maze of Ith and Cloud Post... Alright, my mouse has been temperamental today. Alright, let's cast Murktide Regent, because that scales up my other one. So 1, 2, 3... Let's go 4, 5. A new Murktide Regent. That's interesting. Make my opponent tap their Maze of Ith, I guess. Pass turn. I get to start doing damage around Cloud Post now. My opponent can either get bigger mana or get a second maze to start messing with my stuff. Well, I sure don't have a counterspell right now. My opponent gets a turn off from these attacks. I'm certainly not the best here. I could fire Ice to just draw a card and take a redraw. I might need the Fire Ice a little bit later to do other things, though. I think this is just very reluctantly play out a new creature, scale this up, and then maybe I end of turn tap Maze of Ith, and then try to get close to lethaling my opponent in a single attack. My opponent's on 6 mana, so like we are in Primeval Titan territory. Oh? Really? Okay. So let's ice Maze of Ith. Tapping like this. I very much don't want that. Ponder. Sure. Well, well, well. Look who we have here. That lets me double Wasteland, which is really strong. Let's do this for X is 1. That can go to graveyard, I guess. Actually, 7, 8, 13, 16, 19. Can't Ponder and Lightning Bolt in the same turn cycle, so it's always 2 turns. Yeah, I'll send that to graveyard. So I'll Ponder. Get rid of the land. Force of Will is the exact card that I would like to draw, so this is great. Bam, bam, bam. No. So this is 16, which is happening, putting my opponent to 4. I think I let them... untapping is weird because of the One Ring and crop rotation, but I think I let them untap and just make the Thespian stage awkward. Upkeep with this trigger on the stack still. I have to respect crop rotation for Glacial Chasm. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I attack 1 Cloud Post, see how my opponent responds. I have to respect crop rotation for Glacial Chasm while also respecting it from hand directly. Alright, so my opponent lets that go. They go to 2. I think I hold the second Wasteland. At end of turn, Maze of Ith, like, junking Maze of Ith is reasonable, or doing it on my own turn. But I don't think I attack 2 mana sources here. Yeah, so there's Glacial Chasm from hand. And this is fine. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. However, not loss of life. So I believe I just wait till my opponent's upkeep and then they die. And I don't have to fire off a Wasteland on anything. Because if I fire off Wasteland on this, they just Thespian stage copy it. And they don't actually die anyway. I'm going to go ahead and seek the beast. If I find another Wasteland, I can just kill my opponent now. That in graveyard. I don't need another land drop that badly. I'm looking specifically for Wasteland. I find some Flooded Strands instead. Yeah, sure, I'll just play another one of these. Yep, and we will just patiently wait for my opponent's death. So, the cumulative upkeep happens. My opponent can't pay the life. So they sacrifice that. They draw some cards with the One Ring. And they are dead when that trigger resolves. And I have Force of Will for if they try to crop rotation for a Glimmer Post. Okay, we have redeemed ourselves. We're on the board with a win. Okay, I quite like my opening hand. I have a lot of ability to sculpt this one. I actually have both of my colors this time. I do not have a Wasteland for Urza's Saga, unfortunately. I can get a couple of looks at doing that, though. And I think we're shuffling anything that is not the card Wasteland. Those are not the card Wasteland. As much as I like the beans, I would prefer this Urza Saga to not tick up to its ultimate level and then, like, find an expedition map to make another one or find a Pithing Needle so that I don't get to Wasteland future copies of Urza Saga if this is some sort of Life from the Loam based deck. So I imagine Ancient Tomb is my opponent's next play. Just kind of makes sense if you are keeping a turn 1 Urza Saga hand. No. Okay. So, what is my opponent playing? Urza Saga might be getting something like an LED or a manifold key to be part of a combo setup. So I think pondering for either Wasteland or another Force of Will is reasonable. Fire Ice, Shuffle here. Did not find it. I think I will just go ahead and ponder again. And if nothing else, I'm filling the graveyard for Murktide Regent. Well, we'll shuffle again. Have not managed to find a Wasteland. So whatever happens with this Urza Saga is happening. Oh, it is a Cephalid Breakfast deck. It was indeed part of a combo. My opponent can get Shuko here and then jam the Illusionist. I have a counter spell for that. I don't know that my Daze ends up being meaningful because my opponent just like plays Illusionist around Daze, so I might end up just dying here. I'll force pitching a Brainstorm. My opponent forces. I now have Daze as interaction that is not meaningful, and my opponent will infinitely target Cephalid Illusionist with Shuko. They will mill their entire library into their graveyard and then dread return a Thassa's Oracle by sacrificing 3 Narcomoebas. And I am dead to that. GG's. Torpor Orb is very good at stopping my opponent's combo. Surgical Extraction is medium. The issue is that Cabal Therapy sometimes stops it from doing its thing. Fire Ice feels mid. I think I'm going to get that out of my deck. I think I like Life from the Loam for Wasteland for respecting Urza Saga. I think I'm going to keep the Furies in respect of Urza Saga. I might swap them with Meltdown. Like, I think I always want those. And then some of this stuff falls into a tier 2. The carpets are awkward because my opponent does have things like Basic Plains and Urza Saga in their deck. But I don't think I actually want those. Maybe Meltdown is just better Fury. It's, like, weird because Beanstalk is a thing. The Torpor Orb, Meltdown, Pyroblast. Maybe the Dazes aren't great. Like, my opponent accidentally ends up waiting them out some portion of the time anyway. Blue count's a little low if I play these Surgicals instead of, say, like a Brazen Borrower and a Force of Negation or 2 Force of Negations. Let's do this. Force of Will with no blue card to pair. They boarded this in. I won't have access to all 3 colors of mana. Maybe this is fine. I don't know. I have not been impressed by this deck, and maybe I am trying to keep too fair of hands, and I need to be mulliganing more aggressively than I am. This is a hand that's pretty close to good. Ow, it's pretty weak. I have my other color, at least, in good news. This is one of those times, though, where if my opponent just, like, plays Urza Saga this turn and passes, like, it is rough for me. Alright. I don't think that land go favors me. I'm gonna say no to that. My opponent has not made strong proactive plays this game yet, and I would like to keep them from making strong proactive plays. It's awkward that, like, doing this takes me off of Lightning Bolt because I have double Trop and then this as well. Yeah, that's fine. Like, if my opponent gets Cauldra, I just Lightning Bolt it. Alright, they get Shuko. You may absolutely play out a Shuko and equip it. No Shuko respect. Since I'm working towards hardcasting a Force of Will, I am just going to take this game action. And this is not how I would like to use this Lightning Bolt. But my situation is pretty bad. And I think I need to put a clock in play. I still technically have a piece of interaction for if my opponent just drops Cephalid Illusionist. But again, Surgical is not necessarily enough. Yep. And this is why I didn't want to make this play, but I think if I don't put a threat in play, and we just keep playing draw go, that my opponent just gets to a better and better spot to wiggle through. So now it becomes a game of, does my opponent hit Cabal Therapy? Okay, there's the Thassa's Oracle. I will be able to Surgical Extraction that. But I will let my opponent keep going for a little while here, as maybe they put themselves in a situation where they mill out, which would be swell. All right, so a handful of clicks later, this is the moment of glory. My opponent doesn't have an extra creature, so I will just attempt to Surgical Extraction the Thassa's Oracle, and we'll see if I steal the game or if they have a counterspell. They have Force of Will to back it up, and I die. GG's, we end this league at an unimpressive 1-4. So what happened here? Because this is a pile of good cards. So why did this league go so poorly? Part of this may be me approaching the deck wrong, but I think there's just a decent number of combinations of cards that you can draw that just end up being awkward together. Fire Ice is very slow as a card. I understand the need to have some additional removal in the Orcish Bowmasters world that we live in. Maybe you don't get to get away with both of these at the same time. Maybe you don't get to get away with having 6 of these delve creatures that all draw on the graveyard at the same time. I definitely felt like I was hurting a little bit for my secondary color in a lot of opening hands. I didn't feel like the dazes were incredible, but I also didn't line up like DRC backed by Daze very many times throughout the league. Maybe the deck is too threat dense. Like maybe we need a few more things holding together the deck to make the gears turn. Like I lost a game where I had 4 Up the Beanstalks in play, which I feel like should never happen. Conceptually, the deck can really pop off once it gets going, but I feel like it got stuck in ruts either at the beginning of the game or the middle of the game, where you run into some weird spots where you don't have the blue card to pitch to Force of Will to trigger your Up the Beanstalks, or you are missing one color to deploy one of your cards. Definitely was feeling not being able to double mana pip in one turn due to the Wastelands. So I think this one gets a thumbs down from me. I have a feeling that if I played a couple of leagues with this deck to get a better feel for where its strengths and weaknesses were and what it like can and cannot answer, that my results would be better. But I don't know that I can recommend this deck in good faith given how badly this league went for me. It looks like a pile of good cards, but I feel like this deck has to work so much harder to get going than the Sultai like Bug Beanstalk deck, which exists in a similar space. And that deck gets to just play Bowmasters rather than play something like Fire Ice. And maybe it has too many pitch cards. If you don't have your Beanstalks going, the Force of Will's Furies, Force of Negations are reliant on having a pitch card, and these are reliant on having a graveyard. So I feel like you end up in a decent number of spots where you don't quite have the resources to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at with this one. Sideboard felt reasonable. I do kind of miss the main deckable bug things that just happen to address permanence, you know, your Witherbloom commands and friends. I kind of miss Dismember as an easy answer to initiative creatures. Like, we have Fury, which kind of helps out with that. But we, again, don't really have that nice, like, end of turn flash in Orcish Bowmasters take the initiative sort of thing. I think this one gets a thumbs down for me. If you want to mess around with this shell, though, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU if you need to save a little bit on your next order. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya.